What's up, guys? It's Dwayne, back again for another video, back in for reaction, and today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible, beautiful and delicious day because it's a Germany day. What the British really think of the Germans. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
The British and the Germans, a story of unrequited love, all playing hard to get. Can the British really leave a don't mention the war behind? And
Why is that? Start again.
the British and the Germans, a story of unrequited love, all playing hard to get. Can the British really leave a don't mention the war behind? And are these stereotypes really outdated, or are they so deeply ingrained in the British psyche that they endure over generations? In fact,
Unrequited love. I've never heard that put that way. Like the relationship between the wait. Whose love is unrequited then? We'll find out. Let's see.
in 2005, the then German ambassador in London complained that the constant repetition of cliches and stereotypes in the British media sometimes completely swamps the reality. His criticism was not referring to too much Hitler, but more not enough modern-day Germany. He believes that the lessons that Germany has learned from the Holocaust and World War II are completely glossed over in British school history lessons. And I think
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I've said this before, guys, in other videos, and like a feeling of a sense of kind of not shame, but kind of like disappointment that, you know, we didn't learn. We don't. All I learned about Germany was about the war, what happened in the war, and none of the modern aspects of Germany or how Germany has like flourished and become this amazing country. I learned nothing about that. So when I'm watching all these videos learning about Germany, I'm so like shocked that it seems like such a great place like to visit. It was never on the list of places I wanted to visit because the way that Germany is portrayed in British culture, media, it's not in necessarily a negative light. Obviously, the historical stuff is there and prominent. It's the fact that we don't speak about Germany enough. You're our neighbours, but we don't talk about you enough. We don't talk about how great Germany is enough. So I completely get what he's saying. Yeah. It's a shame.
I think you had a point, when it comes to history lessons about Germany, we are very selective. The war and the Nazis dominate the classroom, and there's very little attention given to post-war Germany and even less to post-reunification. And so while the Germans are obsessed with the British royal family, the British can't seem to quell their obsession with the past. But is this really the case? Do the British really only just think of Hitler, the war and sausages when it comes to Germany? Or has the media skewed things all out of proportion? Well, a 2023 study by Delta Poll and a 2022 survey by the British Foreign Policy Group really paints quite a different picture. The most interesting thing about these studies is that they were broken down by age, gender and political leaning, and quite frankly, really gave some results which I still don't quite understand. So please watch until the end and see if you can help me to determine why men and women see Germany very differently, and why conservatives look to Germany with admiration and appreciation. When asked about alliances, 2/3 of Brits believe that international relationships and cooperation make the UK more resilient, and 63% judged Germany as the most likely country to act responsibly in the world, above France and America. Okay, so unfortunately, act responsibly was not defined in the study, but I assume you mean something like making well thought out and fair decisions when it comes to the environment and foreign policy. And so for all the piss-taking and crowd jokes, even Brits who have never been to Germany still view the country as a country that is reliable and trustworthy, and a country of people that are predictable and really take the moral implications into consideration when making decisions. Something which might
that is definitely a view that I had of Germany before I started learning about Germany. The one view I had was that efficiency, sensible, moral, just that those words were really synonymous with Germany for me. So that's good. You are painted in a positive light, modern day Germany, but we just don't know enough about anything else. We know that you're reliable. We know you make great cars and you have like great industries, and that's it, really. There's not enough. We're not close enough as nations, and that needs to change. Especially, I know you guys are still in the EU and we're not, but there should be no reason why we can't tighten our bond as countries, because we're more alike than we are dissimilar. So
Might seem surprising given the angle that the media usually takes with Germany, but this is not something that really is very surprising to me, especially for me growing up in the UK. The people that I was surrounded with really saw and judged Germany as quite a reliable, robust and trustworthy country. And Germans were a reflective kind of people who really put a lot of thought and energy into the decisions that they made and didn't really do things on a whim. Another study carried out by the German embassy found that from a list of attributes, organized, efficient and hardworking are items most commonly associated with Germany. And in all honesty, I think it were these kind of attributes which first attracted me to the country. I've always valued efficiency and organization. I've always really hated chaos. And although there are a lot of things which are not efficient here, comparatively speaking, Germany is a well-organized, efficient country. In fact, one of the reasons that I left the UK in the first place was that I was just very frustrated with the way things are going, especially with the Labour government at the time. Although...
Oh, he's conservative, clearly. He sounds conservative as well. There's a stereotype to that as well. In our country, there is. I won't talk about my political leaning. I'm not Labour by any chance, but I'm just observing what he is. And he left. He said he left Britain because of the political standing at the time. He left during Labour, so maybe he left he left a while ago, because we've had a conservative government for quite a while now, 2 terms at least. So he left a long time ago. I get it. So that means you must have had a conservative leadership when we had a Labour leadership.
Oh, I was barely more than a teenager back then, and is it not really kind of normal to rebel against your immediate surroundings at that age? When I go back to the UK now, there are many things which I really do like and value about the country. Politics is not one of them, though. But just to hammer this point home, 70% of respondents to the survey view Germany in a positive light. So for all the Germans out there who have been on the receiving end of British sarcasm or snide remarks, it's not the majority, and it seems that the media has painted an unrepresentative picture of the British attitudes towards Germany. The Delta Pulse survey found that Germany is an important international partner for the UK, coming in second among non-English speaking countries, just behind France. And I do think that this is a key point of importance that Germany and most other European countries just don't understand. Obviously, the editors of this survey try to paint the results in a very positive picture. But if you include the other English-speaking countries, Germany doesn't even make the top 5 when it comes to international partners, coming in right behind the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and France.
That just makes no sense. Like I said, I was saying earlier, we should have closer ties. Now, that's the fault. Well, it's probably the fault of Britain, to be honest. We've just distanced ourselves even more from Europe, and yeah. But we should definitely... It makes no sense that we can be a country that's so close and have so many ties, historical ties, good ones and bad ones, and not have more... Just be a tighter-knit couple of countries.
The UK still has its Commonwealth, where the King is still head of state in many countries around the world.
Speaking of the Commonwealth... he's not going to have that for long. I'm just being honest. The Commonwealth is shrinking, sometimes yearly. The Commonwealth is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I predict that there may not even be a Commonwealth in the next 10 years. if there is a Commonwealth, it will only be a hand, like maybe 3 or 4 countries. All these smaller, like Caribbean islands, they're all leaving. Yeah, I think the Commonwealth is just the remnants of the British Empire, which our country likes to hold on to. It really does. It's like, oh, we used to be this great country that had an empire and we literally ruled like most of the world, but that was a long time ago and we've lost all that power. And the Commonwealth is almost like a symbolic kind of Fox empire show of pompous and pageantry, really. I just feel like that's what it is. It's not, it doesn't serve to do anything. Britain doesn't help the Commonwealth nations with anything. I don't even know why they exist, and I don't know why they have the monarchy as the head of state in their countries, because our monarchy doesn't do anything for them. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be long until we don't have, until there's no Commonwealth. Royal family, I think we'll keep because it serves a purpose in terms of allure for the rest of the world and tourism, and yeah, it's part of our cultural identity. So I think we'll keep the royal family, but the Commonwealth, I'm not sure it's going to survive the next decade.
And I know that the UK has been losing relevance for many, many years, economically and politically, but still in the minds of the average person, the UK is much culturally closer to the US, to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, than it is to any of the European countries. And I mean, this should not really come as a surprise. You know, a language is extremely important. Sure. And politics and international relations aside, why do you think Germans like to holiday in Mallorca and Austria and Switzerland? It's because of the language. It's because of the language and the culture. And people don't like foreign places. Most people, when they go on holiday, they don't like to have everything completely foreign and new and different. You know, they like going to places like Mallorca, where you have the nice sort of bits of foreign culture, where you have nice weather, the sun is shining, you have good food, but you also are able to get your cafe and kuchen at 2 o'clock sharp, you know, on the beach. Well, it's really no different for the British. You know, however geographically close Germany and Europe might be, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all these English-speaking countries, as well as countries like India, are just inextricably tied up with the UK. Spain might be the #1 tourist destination for Brits, but you know, really most Brits go to places like Gran Canaria, Tenerife, Benidorm, which really have nothing to do with Spain whatsoever. It's basically just like a UK Saturday night out on steroids.
It literally is. Like, we have literally basically colonized quite a lot of Spanish islands. I'm sure there's some German ones as well. Like, there's certain islands that are just like synonymous with Brits. And Tenerife, Gran Canaria, and Majorca, and Benidorm, and all those places. Very British.
With sun and even cheaper beer and food than you get elsewhere. When it comes to the most popular languages to learn, Spanish and French are the most commonly selected, followed by Italian. German comes in 4th place with only 13% of respondents choosing this as a foreign language which they would like to learn. And I know that most Germans will not understand this, but learning German is hard for native English speakers. The main reason being is that Germans generally have a better level of English than the French or the Italian or the Spanish. And on top of that, they are not very proud of their linguistic heritage, at least not in the way that the French or the Italians are. And what I mean by this...
Really? Are you not proud of your language? I know he's going to explain this, but that's interesting. That's very interesting. Is German hard? The basics, I think, they're not, but I think you have some really long words. Pronunciation can be quite difficult with German. I think Spanish is easier for a English person to learn, but I don't think German is not the hardest language. It's actually one of the easier languages out of the family of languages that we can learn. out of the languages in the world, German is definitely in the top 5 for English speakers to learn. The easiest, top 5 easiest languages for English people to learn. So I wouldn't say it's hard, saying that I don't speak German. So
by this is that Germany is very open and very receptive to foreign cultures. You know, there is just so much English that has seeped into the German language, and even today now Arabic and Turkish is seeping into the German language all over the place, and it's gotten to the point where a native English speaker who has no experience of German or German culture would probably not understand German speaking English, because they've developed a kind of weird Denglish mix of both languages. This might be similar to a country like the Netherlands, but the southern European countries like Italy, like Spain, like France, they are just much more proud of their cultural heritage, and they are just more resistant to cultural influences coming to the language. I seem to have gotten over.
that's yeah. So that's why it doesn't really make sense. What he's saying, it doesn't really make sense learning German. And hear me out. Unless you're going to move to Germany permanently. But if I was going to Germany just to visit on holiday, or even if I just stayed there for a couple of months or something, and there's not really any point me trying to learn German because your English is so good. You're watching me, so you obviously understand what I'm saying. Your English is so good, there's no point. Same with the Netherlands. Same with like Sweden and Finland and the Nordic countries. English is they speak English so well that there's just no point. I will never be as good at German as you are at English. So
Over this hub now, but when I first moved to Germany, you know, all Germans just replied to me in English when I was trying to speak German, which was very frustrating. And yes, English is like a simplified version of German. There are very many similarities, but the grammatical structure is just very complicated for an English native speaker to learn. And, you know, most people that learn it as an adult are never going to get the articles or the cases perfect. A strong majority of respondents, almost 70%, hold a positive view of Germany, and only 16% hold a negative view. However, the results are actually broken down by gender, age, and political leaning. And in general, men have a much more positive view of Germany than women. Why is this, and why would this be the case? Is it due to the fact that things that Germany is known for, like engineering, like cars, like beer and war?
that makes sense. That makes sense. Did he say war? Men have a more of a positive view of Germany than women do. It would make sense. I mean, cars, that's a big one. Beer, that's a big one. Just to stereotype men, but it's true. Food. I feel like your food's quite, don't take this the wrong way, but German food's quite manly. It's associated with beer, and it's associated for Brits. It's associated with that. It's quite a manly. Is that weird to say? Like your food's manly? I don't know. Like, yeah, I literally understand why this, like, men associate Germany more positively than women. It's somewhere that men probably like a little bit more, a tiny bit more. But,
or are these things that maybe interest men more than women? Or am I completely off? Is it something completely different? Conservatives see Germany more positively than any other political group. And this is something which does not really surprise me. Germany is generally fairly conservative. It does uphold very conservative beliefs like the nuclear family, like marriage, like property rights, freedom of religion, all that kind of good stuff.
So you're very conservative. That's interesting. Is that true? My political standing has changed as I get older. I lean more that way. I think I'm quite centre. I'm quite centre now. Yeah, I would say centre left maybe. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in the middle. I agree with a lot of conservative views, and I agree with a lot of liberal views. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, but yeah, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I just feel like, yeah. So if I went to Germany, I don't think I would be like, oh, this is terrible. It's a conservative place. Because I know there's some people that are very left-leaning, and they would see that as a negative thing. Maybe that's another thing with the statistics with the males and females, because females tend to lean more politically left. So that could be another small indication why, and men tend to statistically lean more right. So maybe that's why it's more favourable for men. It's seen more in a positive light. Germany as a country is seen more as a positive thing than for females. Huh. What do you think?
And the generation, the age group which sees Germany most positively are millennials. So me. And so speaking from my personal perspective, I did not grow up during the war. My grandparents died when I was very young. And so I had no real tangible personal experience with that side of history. And so the vast majority of respondents, 70%, view Germany positively. They associate Germany with efficiency, hard work, and organization, and they see Germany as a very important partner in the future of the UK. Of all people surveyed, conservative male millennials hold the most positive view of Germany. And so what do you think? Is this representative or is it totally off? Let me know in the comments below. I do hope you enjoyed this one. You can read all the results, all the survey results down below in the links.
That was very interesting. I do agree. He said male conservative millennials. So him, see Germany more positively. Yeah. I think that's probably quite accurate. Yeah, because when I think of a left-leaning European country, I wouldn't think Germany. But the first country that would probably come to mind might be somewhere like maybe Sweden, Finland, maybe even Spain to a certain... Yeah, I wouldn't immediately think Germany. So, could be true. I like this guy's videos. I like him. I'm going to call him an older Prince Harry. I keep saying that. But I'm just thinking, he's got a really nice voice as well. Very soothing. I'm going to watch more of his videos. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.